Pull up the repair records on any Chevy that died before it should have, and 9 times out of 10, you will find the same pattern. An engine that ran fine, then ran rough, then started costing money in ways that never quite made sense. Fuel pump at 70,000 miles. Injectors at 90,000. Carbon cleaning at 100,000. The owner chalked it up to bad luck or normal wear. The mechanic knew better and said nothing, because the real answer was uncomfortable. The fuel that went into that engine, fill after fill, year after year, was quietly destroying it from the inside out. Not dramatically, not all at once, just slowly, invisibly, one tank at a time. I am going to show you exactly which stations are doing that to Chevy engines right now, why most owners never connect the damage back to the pump, and what the difference looks like when you open an engine that was fed the right fuel versus one that was not. By the time we get to number 1 on this list, you are going to understand something the fuel industry has spent decades making sure you never figure out. Every gallon of gasoline in America starts the same way. Same pipelines, same refineries, same distribution terminals. The difference between fuel that quietly destroys your engine over 5 years and fuel that keeps it clean past 300,000 miles happens at one specific moment, right there at the terminal, before the tanker ever pulls away. That is where each brand injects its additive package. That package is the entire game. And here is what makes it critical for anyone driving a modern Chevy. If your truck or car was built after roughly 2012, there is a very good chance it uses gasoline direct injection. GDI changed the combustion process in ways that made engines more powerful and more efficient, but it created a vulnerability that almost nobody was warned about at the dealership. In older engines, fuel washed over the intake valves on every cycle and kept them clean. In a GDI engine, fuel bypasses the valves completely and shoots straight into the combustion chamber. The valves never get washed. They collect carbon deposits, oil vapor, and combustion soot every single cycle. That buildup hardens over time. Airflow drops, power drops, misfires, rough idle, hesitation on acceleration. When you finally feel it, the cleaning bill starts at $600 and moves up from there fast. The EPA detergent standard governing what goes into your tank was written in the 1990s before GDI engines existed. It has not been meaningfully updated since. That gap between what the legal minimum requires and what your Chevy actually needs is exactly where budget fuel brands live. And that is exactly where engines die early. BMW, General Motors, Toyota, and Honda recognized this problem and created their own certification called Top Tier. Top Tier fuel carries 2.5 times the cleaning power of the EPA minimum. Adding those extra detergents costs money. Budget brands cut that cost. Your engine absorbs the difference over the next 100,000 miles. With that foundation in place, here are the 11 stations destroying Chevy engines. Starting with number 11, Safeway. Fuel is not Safeway's business. It is a loss leader, a tool to pull you into the parking lot so you buy groceries. They source gasoline from whoever is cheapest on the spot market that week. No proprietary additive package, no top-tier certification, nothing beyond the legal floor. Independent testing has consistently placed Safeway fuel at the absolute bottom of EPA detergent standards. Not breaking the rules, just barely clearing them. A mechanic pulled apart a 2018 Honda Civic at 85,000 miles, and the intake valves were caked so thick with carbon he had to chisel them by hand. The owner had been loyal to Safeway for years because of grocery reward points. She had saved roughly $50 total. She handed that mechanic $2,000 to undo what those fills quietly caused. That is the real Safeway equation. Every Chevy running a GDI engine and filling here regularly is on the same trajectory. Number 10, 7-Eleven. The danger here is not just fuel quality, it is total inconsistency. 7-Eleven does not refine fuel. Every franchise location buys whatever is cheapest in that region that particular week. The station on your corner might have passable fuel. The one 3 miles away is pumping something completely different. Your Chevy's computer is constantly recalibrating to an inconsistent product, and that ongoing stress accumulates in your fuel system and catalytic converter over time. The deeper concern is tank integrity. Many 7-Eleven locations sit on aging underground infrastructure. Those tanks develop cracks. Groundwater seeps in. When water mixes with ethanol blend gasoline, phase separation occurs. The ethanol pulls that moisture and it sinks to the bottom of the storage tank. Since the pump draws from the bottom, that water-alcohol mixture is what enters your engine. A Toyota Camry owner filled up at a 7-Eleven, drove 10 miles, and watched his entire dashboard light up. A fuel sample showed 18% ethanol. The pump label said 10. His fuel lines were already corroding from the inside. One tank. That is how fast the damage begins. Number 9, Sam's Club. High volume sounds like it should mean safe fuel, fast turnover, nothing sitting long enough to go stale. But high volume also means those pump filters get absolutely hammered every single day. When maintenance slips even slightly at a station moving that kind of fuel, filters fail. And when they fail, the sediment settled at the bottom of the underground storage tank gets stirred up and pushed straight into your engine. A Ford Explorer came in with 42,000 miles on it running, like it had 150,000. Rough idle, stalling at every red light, hesitation on every acceleration. The mechanic pulled the fuel filter and it looked like wet coffee grounds. That sediment had already scored the injectors and damaged the fuel pressure regulator before the truck hit 50,000 miles. Sam's Club is not top-tier certified. Their entire value proposition is price. That works for bulk paper towels. It does not work for a high-pressure direct injection engine running tolerances that engineers spent years calibrating. Number 8, Circle K. Professional branding, clean forecourts, stations on every major corridor. Most drivers pull in without a second thought, but Circle K does not operate a proprietary fuel program. They source from available supply, and industry reporting has documented a consistent pattern of purchasing distressed fuel loads to protect margins. Distressed fuel is product that oxidized in storage, was not properly stabilized, or did not move fast enough at another distribution point. The failure mode mechanics see most often connected to Circle K is phase separation from water intrusion. A Chevy Tahoe owner filled up on a Sunday afternoon and the truck would not start Monday morning. The fuel pump was destroyed, the injectors were corroded completely shut. Total repair bill was $3,400, not from years of neglect, from one single fill on one single afternoon. When contaminated fuel reaches a modern Chevy fuel system, there is no margin for error. The components are precise, the tolerances are tight, and Circle K gave that owner no warning before it cost him everything. Number 7, Murphy USA. You find these in Walmart parking lots, and the positioning is deliberate. The goal is to be the cheapest number on that sign every single day, no matter what it takes. To hold that price consistently, something has to give. What gives is the additive package. Murphy USA has been connected to reported patterns of inconsistent ethanol blending at stations across the South and Southwest. Modern Chevy engines are calibrated to handle 10% ethanol. When quality control slips and a batch comes through significantly above that threshold, the engine management system cannot compensate fast enough. Fuel trims go haywire, the engine runs lean. Lean combustion burns hotter than designed, and that sustained elevated heat scores cylinder walls and destroys valves in ways that show up thousands of miles before they should. A 2017 Silverado came in with carbon scoring on the cylinder walls at 68,000 miles. That is damage typically associated with severely neglected engines at 200,000 miles or more. The owner had filled exclusively at Murphy USA for 3 years because the price was lowest and the location was closest. He needed a partial engine rebuild before the truck hit 70,000 miles. Every cent he saved was gone before the odometer turned another 10,000. Number 6, Speedway. Clean stations, professional image, the look of a brand that takes fuel seriously. But Speedway does not operate an integrated supply chain the way major oil companies do. They source from mixed suppliers, meaning what is in the underground tank on any given week varies by batch and by region. Your Chevy does not tolerate that inconsistency well. The computer reads fuel quality through oxygen sensors and continuously adjusts ignition timing and fuel mixture. When quality shifts significantly between fills, that system is under constant recalibration stress. Over time, that stress compounds in the catalytic converter. Independent mechanics have documented Speedway fuel with sulfur content high enough to trigger catalytic efficiency fault codes on vehicles with fewer than 30,000 miles on them. A catalytic converter on a modern Chevy runs between $800 and $2,500 depending on the application. That is a part that should last the life of the truck. When it fails early because the fuel feeding it was not refined to an adequate standard, the station that sold you that fuel has already taken your money and moved on. Number 5, Love's travel stops. Truckers trust Love's for diesel and for a commercial rig with industrial-grade filtration. That trust has some basis. The gasoline side is an entirely different story. Regular unleaded at Love's exists because it has to, not because it represents a core business priority. Diesel, DF fluid, and keeping commercial drivers moving is the mission. Four-wheeler fuel is the afterthought. The contamination pattern mechanics see most consistently connected to Love's is microbial growth. When moisture accumulates in a storage tank and sits long enough in the right temperature conditions, bacteria and fungi colonize the fuel-water interface at the bottom of the tank. The result is a biological sludge that gradually works into the fuel supply. A family filled their minivan at a Love's in Arkansas and made it 73 miles before the van died on the interstate. The fuel filter was completely blocked with biological contamination. The tank had to be professionally dropped and steam cleaned, fuel lines flushed. They paid over $2,300, all because they stopped at a station that treats gasoline as an inconvenient add-on to its real business. Number 4, Amoco. This one is painful to include because the reputation was genuinely earned. The original Amoco Ultimate was considered among the best retail fuels available. Mechanics trusted it. The brand built real credibility over decades on chemistry that delivered measurable results inside real engines. But that company no longer exists in the form that built the reputation. BP acquired the Amoco brand, and in most markets today, standard Amoco fuel is rebranded BP Supply under a legacy logo. The additive package drivers spent decades trusting has changed significantly. Mechanic communities consistently document a drop in detergent performance in standard Amoco regular compared to what the original formula delivered. The problem is, the name still carries the old credibility. Drivers who grew up filling at Amoco are still making loyalty-based decisions on a product that no longer exists in the form they are loyal to. A 2019 Malibu came in at 61,000 miles running rough with no obvious cause. The owner had been filling at Amoco specifically because he trusted the brand's history. When the intake valves were scoped, the carbon deposits were so thick the metal stem was barely visible underneath. Nostalgia does not clean intake valves. A familiar logo on the canopy does not mean the chemistry inside the tank still matches what that logo used to represent. Number 3, Pilot Flying J. If you know the history here, you already know why this brand belongs near the top of this list. Pilot Flying J was at the center of a federal investigation that ended in criminal convictions of company executives for deliberately defrauding their largest trucking clients out of millions of dollars in fuel rebates. They systematically cheated the customers who trusted them most and did it for years before getting caught. Now ask yourself this: if a company was willing to defraud its highest value commercial accounts at the executive level, what standard do you genuinely believe they are holding themselves to on the 87 octane going into your Chevy? Mechanics who service vehicles with heavy Pilot Flying J histories report consistent patterns of particulate contamination, injectors clogging ahead of schedule, fuel filters loading up faster than mileage alone explains. A driver with a diesel pickup he paid $60,000 for filled at Pilot exclusively for 2 years. When the injectors were inspected, they were scored and leaking fuel past the seals, washing the protective oil film off the cylinder walls and damaging the piston rings. The repair came to $8,700. The history of that company was available to him before he ever turned into that first Pilot exit. He just never looked. Number 2, Sunoco Regular Grade. The marketing is masterful. Official fuel of NASCAR, race cars, performance engineering, 500 miles at 200 miles per hour. That association is immediate and powerful, and it is one of the most effective misdirections in American retail fuel. The product running a NASCAR competition is a custom high-octane formula engineered to entirely different specifications than anything available at a retail pump. It shares a brand name with the 87 regular in your tank and nothing else of significance. Sunoco regular has appeared consistently in independent mechanic reporting as a contributor to low-speed pre-ignition, known as LSPI. This happens when carbon hot spots in the combustion chamber ignite the fuel charge before the spark plug fires. The resulting pressure wave strikes the piston from the wrong direction at the wrong moment. It sounds like marbles rattling in a tin can. It can crack a piston in seconds. Mechanics who track fuel-related engine failures report seeing LSPI damage in vehicles running Sunoco regular at a rate that stands out sharply from other major brands. The NASCAR badge is marketing. The damage in the combustion chamber is mechanical reality. Number 1, and this is the one that should make every Chevy owner stop and think: independent stations with no brand affiliation and no oversight accountability. No logo on the canopy, no corporate quality standards, no terminal audits, no chain of custody on the additive package going into that underground tank. Just a price sign that is reliably 2 or 3 cents cheaper than everything else on the block. Among fuel industry insiders, there is a documented pattern at certain independent and low oversight stations where the premium tank is not always what the pump claims. The method is straightforward. The tank holds 87 regular. A cheap chemical octane booster is added at the distribution point. It temporarily raises the measured level enough to clear a basic field test. But that booster dissipates within 24 to 48 hours. By the time you are driving on it, the chemistry has degraded. You are running 87 in a Chevy engine timing itself for 93. Turbocharged and high compression engines are the most vulnerable. They aggressively advance ignition timing when calibrated for premium fuel. When the octane cannot support that timing, the engine knocks. Sustained knock damages rod bearings, erodes piston crowns, and in severe cases, cracks ring lands. The damage builds invisibly. You paid premium, you got regular. Without a laboratory fuel sample, you will never confirm it. You will just know something feels slightly wrong and spend months chasing an explanation that never quite fits. No evidence, no recourse, just a repair bill that appears to come from nowhere, and a Chevy that dies years before it should have. 2 cents per gallon cheaper is not a deal. It is a payment plan for a repair bill you have not received yet. And by the time you do, the station that caused it has already moved on to the next driver who never looked past the price on the sign.